No, seriously, this is the most insane transformation that I've ever seen out of any of the videos we've ever recorded on this channel. And I feel like every video we keep doing just gets more serious and serious. And I'm so sorry. I'm just looking at myself, realizing how chopped my hair is right now. I just kind of woke up. I came back from Paraguay. I was there for a week, and Brazil. Great countries, by the way. Great people, lovely food, cheap food, great stuff. Anyways, this video is extreme. You might be pretty familiar with the kind of content we create on this channel and go through. And if you're not, just briefly to say, it is a channel where we discuss a lot of things around fitness, but one of the series of videos that I do that gets quite a bit of popularity is discussing the side effects of female PED usage. PEDs, if you're new to the realm, stands for performance enhancing drug. More shortly, even still, it's steroids. It's just steroids. And some girls think that a lot of these things aren't steroids, or some girls think that they're completely safe. Some girls think that there are female-specific ones. Some women think that the SARMs, the selective androgen receptor modulators, are safe versions of these drugs to take for women. All of these which are completely untrue. And it's a lot of what we talk about, as well as the perception that women can take these things and get away without any harm done to them. Of course, other women do take the risks knowingly. They want to do the things that involve taking these drugs, and the side effects that come with it are just part of the cost. Paula Ranta is definitely one of the latter, a female who wants to take these drugs because she feels that it is going to be something that is allowing her to get to her all-time goal, or at least that's what I assumed just from surfing through her content. Starting as far back as one can possibly go into the past of her, she simply was a young girl who looked athletic and immediately started to show off her muscles and strength. 10 years ago, from what we see, is a girl enjoying herself and her soccer team. Looks like to me that we're the same age too. About 28 years old, she talks about graduating in this post, and I graduated high school in 2015 as well. That makes me 28 as well. If you didn't already know. Why does that hurt my soul so badly to say that I've graduated high school 10 years ago?
Someone kill me before I have to make it 11. That is disgusting.
It does become clear, though, that right after finishing her high school career, she starts posting lots of fitness content right off the jump on her profile. At this point, it doesn't seem to be with a direction or anything intentional, but more so just showing off what she was doing. Oftentimes, she had these little motivational quips that she would post here and there. This certainly wasn't the style of content I was posting when I was 18 at all. I was posting stuff like,
Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh! Oh, Lord have mercy.
Anyways, yeah, clearly this female was really into fitness, really into getting people motivated to follow their health journeys, to go to the gym. She was actually really good at it herself too, improving her physique rapidly. She was boasting a fairly impressive body for her age and certainly expressing great discipline. Again, something that's quite rare for this age bracket of individual. Well, not me, at least. I mean, I was at this time this is right about actually when I was in boot camp when this post came out. I was in boot camp getting my ass handed to me, crying about how much I missed wearing boxer briefs. If you were there, you understand. What's most shocking about this entire timeline that you'll soon see is the massive leaps in progress that she makes within just a few months. The jumps are things that people could dream of at that young age, and even as she continues her career. But trust me, what you're seeing now is just the beginning. Give me a couple minutes to cook because this gets wild.
Hot and spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
Now, for me, at this point in time, I have no clue if she's actually using steroids. It doesn't seem like it, but frankly, I wouldn't be surprised. She just hasn't given me enough context. She's posted a couple pictures only on Instagram from what I can tell, no other social media platforms, and a couple motivational quirks. That's really about it. Enough of those to feel a first world country at least. But what I do know is that not too shortly after those few initial posts of her in the gym, she started to pose like a bodybuilder, showing also a lot more skin. A lot more skin. And you can see just what this does to the comment section. It gets a little bit rowdy. And then it seems about some point 5-ish years ago, she was in the hospital for an entire month. She actually had this issue where her intestines did a full 360 degrees. I don't really have any education on this matter, but doesn't sound too great. And she was in the hospital for a full month. That's a huge setback. And this is something that fitness enthusiasts would desperately desperately try to avoid at all costs. Surgeries, in any sense, are terrible because it keeps you out of being active. It keeps you out of your own journey, and that's a no-go. However, for her, not many weeks later, she was getting straight back into it. After having an open cavity surgery where they literally cut her entire body open to get in there, she's back in the gym. Man, I just picked this up. I have to bring it up. This pyramid of monsters is starting to rattle as I speak. It's like reverberating my noise. That's how monstrous this thing is getting. I'm going to have to do something with this at some point. She called this experience a warring battle, saying that she can now look herself in the mirror without having hate, which I think is a really sad thing to say, especially when you've gone through something so traumatic. You shouldn't hate yourself. And I know that we all have what our ideal self-image would be, but saying hate and being mad that you're still fit, you just were in a bed for some time, is a bit of a concern. As we continue Paula's timeline, we enter a really interesting phase, one that we've covered in many other people on this channel. This is what I like to call, we'll just say, the glowing era of the timeline. It's when a female finds like her peak fitness and finds what people really drive with, the content that they really, really like. You get positive comments, you get lots of feedback, you can actually help people because the physique, while very elite, is one that is still obtainable by most people. And it also seems like it's one that she's happy with. She's posting in, lewdish photos or whatever, but she's also just posting her doing normal things like grocery shopping or hanging out at home or playing in the snow. But you soon see that the pursuit of more ruins these phases, and the gals stop posting about these little things, and instead their entire profile becomes either pictures of them on stage, flexing in the gym, or a mixture of both. That phase usually ends dressed in bodybuilding, always. You can see that just a few months later, she's getting ready for a bodybuilding show, and she looks the part, very lean, showing massive muscle separation that you don't normally see on anyone just walking around. And on the outside, she still kind of is the same person from 2015, at least in her mind, posting motivational things, but obviously a lot more significantly bigger and jacked. I mean, the amplitude of change is crazy, but the distance from where she started isn't that crazy. I mean, she's still doing and into the same things. This is why I believe a lot of this is self-derived. She wants to pursue this goal. And I do think that it's clear to say that at this point she is on the Sazul, and you'll see why very clearly. It's, for me, mainly the receding hairline, as well as the fact that we're starting to see she's getting so lean and striated, and this just does not happen in nature. This doesn't happen in nature at all, especially for females. And not only that, but every filter she posts now requires a very, very strong filter to cover up every single blemish on her face. Now, this in itself is not a crime. It's not something I'm judging her for, because
oh, she's using filters or whatever.
It's just that usually you do filters to cover up something. Facial blemishes and acne from steroid usage possibly, or skin aging. Furthermore, she is very clearly experiencing facial changes too. I mean, this is only about 1 year from where she started in those sort of scandalous photos. And what's crazy is this is only a 5-year timeline, less than that, actually. You can see this entire time as she gets more and more insane and more bigger, that other things change too. And what's a huge dead giveaway for me that she's on the juice is that you can't really get this dramatically bigger whilst being insanely lean. It is impossible as a natural individual, because your body is not built to do the same at the same time. It's not built to put on massive amounts of muscle when your body fat is nil. To build muscle, your body needs a calorie surplus, or I should say at least something near a calorie surplus. The definition of that has been a bit vague in the past couple of months, as the fitness community argues, but let's just say that you need something that's going to see your body weight elevating at a very slow and marginal pace. That means eating more than you burn, in a sense, giving your body the energy and raw materials it needs to grow tissue. Think of it like construction. You have no bricks, you have no building. But to stay shredded, like sub 15% fat for a woman, you have to be in a calorie deficit, and quite a significant one. That is the entire opposite. It is running out of fuel. It is taking bricks out of the house and taking them home with you. Now, here's where it gets really crazy for women. Their natural testosterone levels are quite tiny and perspective of what a man's might be. In fact, it's 10 to 20 times lower depending on which study you look at. And testosterone, as many of you may know, is a key anabolic hormone. It plays a massive role within the regulatory function of muscle mass, bone mineral density, and many more things. So even in ideal conditions, it's very hard for a female to build this much muscle. But in a calorie deficit, it should be almost impossible, because when you are this lean, as a male or a female, hormonal regulation is not a thing. You are almost entirely dysregulated at all times. You're going to have lower fasting insulin, lower testosterone, lower serum estradiol levels, and all of these things are anabolic. Yes, estrogen too. We forget about this, but estrogen is anabolic. And when you see a female putting on notable size, staying ripped, and having these bowling ball delts with visible veins everywhere and thick arms whilst staying completely shredded, it's a pretty big red flag. Mechanistically, that only happens if you've got superhuman levels of hormonal support going on in the background there. Pushing the buttons, specifically the plunger on the syringe, that button. In most cases, in a normal condition, people will lose a lot of muscle when they cut. In a natural condition, you will lose muscle. It's inescapable. But when you take steroids, sometimes the reverse can happen. But beyond this, what we're also watching is someone change in real time, and not just her muscles. I have to make that so clear. This stuff gets insane. Her face in just a year has almost entirely changed, structurally entirely changed. And if you look at her here, like compared to this just a few months before to what she is now, I mean, holy shit. You see exactly what I'm saying, and you can't just cope with this saying that it's her hair color or makeup or lighting. No, that is a true facial change. That is her face becoming androgynous due to hormonal exposure, i.e. steroids. Let's have a bit of a science lesson, because I think this is actually really important stuff that hopefully you guys can take away and learn from. And then of course we'll get right back into the nitty gritty. When a woman takes anabolic steroids like Winstrol, Anavar, Trenbolone, many things we've talked about before on this channel, she's introducing synthetic hormones that act like testosterone, or at least on the same receptors. These compounds bind to what is called the androgen receptor, which is found in the muscle, fat tissue, the skin, and vocal cords, even in the jaw bones and in your face. Now, normally, females have very low androgen receptor activity. That's part of why their muscle mass stays lower, and they have different features than a male would. They have a lot more feminine features. But once you flood that system with exogenous forms of testosterone, other androgens override what would be naturally happening. You essentially light those receptors up like Christmas trees, causing a lot of nuclear reactions, or communication with your DNA, slowly and surely changing things. So let's just understand muscle first. This androgen receptor activation from these exogenous hormones is basically causing skeletal muscle to increase its rates of protein synthesis, satellite cell proliferation, and IGF-1 signaling. In simple terms, what's happening is basically you're building muscle, but far beyond what would be naturally achievable. But this is the part in which most people ignore to glorify the first part, muscle growth, right? It's the other changes. Those same androgen receptors exist in other tissues: bones, facial tissues, soft tissues, ligaments, and tendons. Tendons, what the? Jesus, man. Oh my God. That's why when you have women who, over a long period of time, expose themselves to these compounds, you start to see wild things. A more pronounced jawline, a bigger brow ridge, thicker skin, changes in fat redistribution around their face and waist and different things, a widening of their face, like we call it fat face in bodybuilding, like people get a wider face. You actually see this in me. I just made this Instagram post after throw that up. It's disgusting of what I used to look like when I was bodybuilding actively compared to now, where I've look maxed myself into an elite. And you should definitely consider subscribing, because I just showed you that awful piece of history. Or you could just go back on this channel, really. It wouldn't take you too much. But in a lot of cases, what you also see is vocal deepening. You hear women literally get a far deeper voice because of this androgen exposure.
Yeah, and then when I was around 13, 14, I started weight training. I went to the gym with my dad. So I told my parents I wanted some instruction, and they said, okay, get you a trainer, but you need a goal.
So I've always wanted to get like this. Like, I wanted to have veins in my arms all the time, and like just like walk around like that. It's not because I wanted to look like this.
Now, if a woman knows this is going to happen to her, all fine and dandy, but a lot of the cases that we cover, I do get this really suspicious feeling that they have no clue what they're doing, nor what they're taking. So no, this isn't just a lighting change. It's not her changing her hair color. It's not anything else other than her biology reacting to the compounds that are altering her physiologically. This shift is clearly what we call virilization, the development of secondary male characteristics in a female body. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. Those changes are permanent. If your voice gets deeper, it's permanent. If your face changes, it's permanent. If you lose hair due to hair follicle miniaturization, it's permanent. Let me fucking tell you, bro, it's some shit I'm dealing with up here like 24/7 from bodybuilding. And so the cost that no one talks about is that once you stop taking the Zazul, which everyone's going to have to at some point, or at least they should, your face sticks around. Your body changes stick around. No, not the muscle, but the grown bones, the distributed fats, all of the other not so great stuff like big pitted pores that grew and then a receded hairline. I mean, these things are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. But that doesn't stop her, and things keep escalating. And it honestly makes me kind of sad. Like, real talk, seeing this, thinking about, and a lot of you have DM'd me, and this is like making a lot of what I say more real and practical, because a lot of women have been so kind to reach out to me and talk to me about their stories and how it follows a very similar path to many women we talk about, or in some instances where they didn't know what they were doing and they became virilized and they tried everything they could to reverse those effects, and they hate them. I don't want to say hate themselves, but they don't like what they've done. And the most of it is that they were pressured into it by their gym community, a coach, a boyfriend, something like that. Just some really weird psychogenic stuff that I don't know. But the thing is that this isn't even 6 months later, you guys. This isn't even 6 months later. What we are looking at right now is an entirely different person from, let's just say, February of 2020. This is a complete calendar year of a difference. This version of her is only a total of 1 year later from February of 2020. I mean, that is truly some of the most outrageous and quick adjustments to someone's face that we've seen on this channel. And I wish it was where things stop, but thus it's so far from that. Because what happens is she goes to compete, and of course she wins. She does very good. I mean, her physique is legitimately good. That's not me taking away from it all of this stuff. It's good. She has a good physique. She gets her IFBB Pro card, which is a huge thing in the bodybuilding community. It is the status. It is the symbol of prowess, of authority in bodybuilding. It is what everyone aims for when they try to start bodybuilding. It is the pinnacle goal. So of course, what do you do with this pro card? Well, you go compete at pro level shows, except now money is on the line. Before you weren't getting paid, but now you're going to start making some money. And more importantly, sponsors are on the line. And once you can secure a sponsor, you've secured monthly income, a salary that you can depend on to pay you for all of the money and time that you've spent doing this sport without it. And what happens is this cycle continues, baby. And she says it herself. This transformation at, oh my God, where she's at now only took 1 year. The rate of gain on this female is actually insane. It is next level for someone even using gear, to be honest. She is beating the best possible genetic outcomes in a lot of cases with how quickly she does rapidly transform. And even then, to get this far this fast, you got to be pushing a lot of buttons. You know what I'm saying? You're pushing that syringe in deep. It isn't the intra workout or the creatine that she's marketing that's doing this. It is a boatload of steroids. And if you fast forward to her latest show, it just continues to even get worse. She is training at a gym here actually that I used to train at in Pattaya, Thailand. This was my main gym when I lived there. And she's smoking this kid who's already pretty big in size. But hey, maybe she wanted to do this. Maybe this was the dream that she had, very likely from early on. I mean, maybe she really wanted this, especially to have followed this path so consistently for so many years, to have seen herself getting bigger even after achieving the pro card. But I can't help but saying you would be lying to me if you told me that the girl playing soccer 10 years ago, if you showed her a picture of what she looks like now, would say, yeah, I want to be like that. Or I honestly believe that you would be lying to me if you told me the girl posting the lewd photos in lingerie would want to look like this. I mean, that was a woman who really appreciated looking fit, looking attractive, and getting attention for it and being happy about it. But this is a different woman. To put this into perspective, folks, she is the same age as me, exactly the same age as me. We have very similar birthdays too. And it's just, this is radical. Like, truly, this is insane. But here's where we are in terms of her voice, which I wasn't able to refer to in this entire video because she never posted herself talking, not even once on Instagram, TikTok, or anything else. I had to find an interview. This is what she sounds like.
Niin on käynyt niinkin, että sitten seuraavassa kisassa mulla on sanottu, että no vähän on liian kireä, niin vähän semmoinen, että no voihan vitsi, että mitä tässä nyt pitää tehdä. Että sekin on käynyt, niin sen takia niin kuin monet sanoo, että periaatteessa ei niitä tuomarin palautetta kannata edes kysyä, vaan vähän niin kuin, että menee vaan jossain kunnossa ja toivotaan, että se on niin kuin sitä, mitä ne haluaa.
And with that, folks, I leave you to it. If you're going to do this as well as a female, just please understand from me and everyone else that there are so many better options than taking steroids. If you have to go down the enhancement route, do something other than steroids. No, Anavar is not harmless. No, SARMs are not for women. They're not even fucking human approved. Start being a little bit more intelligent with your stack design, please. And if you are new here, I suggest you hit subscribe. It does me a world of favors. Trust me, it does more than you could ever imagine for myself and me making more content with the 2 full-time employees I have on this YouTube channel now. It's been so much fun making these videos, and I'm always like sad when I have to leave because making videos becomes a lot harder. So I appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you in the next video.